This podcast is a member of the Place to Be Nation family. Visit us at placetobenation.com, the only place to be in your pop culture world.
All right, Place to Be Nation universe, welcome back to the WWE pay-per-view reaction show series. And yes, it's time to talk about the War and Peace of wrestling pay-per-views, Wrestlemania. Since I would say this every year, and this one was no exception. I'm your host, Kris, joined as always by my co-host, the Oracle of the WWE, Devon Hales. And I was telling Devon before we started recording that I had to work today, so I've been up since 6:30 a.m. Eastern Time. WrestleMania ends at 12:30 a.m. Eastern Time the next morning. I haven't really had any sleep, so this will definitely not be one of our longer shows. Just to tell you that right now, because I'm very tired. So we're going to be very succinct about this, and we're going to get it started. All right, the pre-show begins with the Cruiserweight title match. Started at about 5:20, so they went early, but they had to because they had 4 pre-show matches. And I will say this for they did a much better job this time in actually getting fans in the building. So there was more fans in the building at this time than has been recently. So that's good. But we had Buddy Murphy defending against Tony Nese. Really fun match. Lots of great spots. Both guys are great workers. Nese got the win. Very surprising to me. I mean, he is from the home area, so I guess that kind of made sense to give it to the hometown guy. But Buddy Murphy, has had this epic reign as champion, and Tony Nese being the guy that win the belt from him is just interesting to me. I would have expected like a debuting guy or something else, but good match though, really solid match. Your thoughts, Devin?
Yeah, it was a good match. I ended up batting 500 on my WrestleMania match prediction. I went
this year.
I went 8-8, and this wasn't a good start. I started 0-1. I thought Bud Murphy would retain, but this was a really good match. Like you said, they managed to get the crowd in there at a good pace and at a good time. Good on MetLife for that, because in recent years they have not been particularly good at that. So good for them there. And it was a good match and a good WrestleMania moment for Nese. It'll be interesting to see if Buddy Murphy moves up to the big boys now.
I gotta think so.
Yeah,
that's the only way to describe, this finish really is to him to go up.
Right. And I saw people mention that on Twitter, and I think that's going to be the case. I think he might be somebody who moves up either Tuesday or next week during the shakeup. So we'll see.
Yeah, and Tony Nese as a babyface done well, and it's gonna be interesting to see how long he remains champion. And it's been a while since we had a babyface champion since Cedric Alexander, so we'll see. We'll see what happens at 205 Live, and see if they bring anybody up on that brand to help it out a little bit depth wise if some people leave to go up or whatever. So it's gonna be interesting, to say the least. All right. After that, we get the Women's Battle Royal, which probably next year will be the China Memorial Battle Royal after Sean Waltman's plea at the Hall of Fame Saturday night. Throwing the gauntlet down. Threw the gauntlet down right like that. I think it's going to have to happen. So we'll see what happens. Anyway, all the women that you would expect to be in the match was in the match. Kairi Sane and Candice LeRae from NXT were in. Ember Moon was in there. Just here's Ember Moon. She's back. No grand return or anything, but she looked really good in the match. That's good that she's back healthy again and able to work, and she's much needed to be back on a roster, so that's great. Riot Squad looked strong together, especially Sarah Logan. She stayed to the end. Mandy and Sonya did well together. I mean, it was what you would expect. Sloppiness, girls hitting each other very hard at times. It was what it was. Oscar was left with Oscar was left with Sarah Logan and who?
Sonya, I believe, was it not?
Sonya Deville. Yeah, interesting final three, or we thought, as Sarah Logan eliminated them, and then here comes Carmella, and Carmella gets rid of Sarah Logan, and Carmella gets the big win. So Carmella winning the Battle Royal, and I guess an interesting finish there. She gets the victory. What's your thoughts on how this played out?
I thought it was booked pretty well. I thought it was a decent little battle royal. WWE generally does a pretty good job with booking their battle royals in recent years. Not just the big ones, but just small ones on TV. They usually do a pretty good job. So this was a fun match. I enjoyed it. I thought most everybody got a chance to shine. Dana Brooke got a huge shine, which was cool, and Chance.
And Chance. Yes.
Dana was really bad a couple of years ago. She's gotten a lot better. And it was cool to see her have that little moment. I'm a huge fan of the Riot Squad, so I was all into them eliminating people 3-on-1 and whatnot. And I was, for a second there, I was kind of thinking Sonya might get the win, and I'm a huge Sonya Deville fan. But she got tossed out, but she had a good performance. And Ember just showing up and people seemingly thinking, and or at least the reports were saying that she'd be out for months. And, she still was out for close to 3 months. But, I think the status was like 6 months or something. And there she is, just randomly showing up in the Battle Royal and doing crazy spots as Ember does. That was kind of interesting. But she was great in there. And the one negative I would say is that I think they do the one person hides outside the ring or under the ring trope way too much in these battle royals.
I think they did the same as that finish last year in the women's battle royal.
I think they did. No, they did it. I think they did it at Evolution with Zelina. Did they not with Zelina and Nia?
Well, they did it there too. Yeah.
I don't know if they did it last year at Mania, but I know they did it at Evolution. But I think it's something they do too much. They did it with Santino, almost 10 years ago now, and now they want to do it every damn time. That is a little bit.
And they've done it in the Rumble forever too.
That is a little bit annoying. I think there's a lack of creativity there a little bit, but otherwise I thought it was a fun battle royal, and a lot of people picked Carmella to win, and I didn't. I thought Lacey Evans would be in it. She did not end up being in that match. She was on the show, but not in the match, which I thought was interesting too.
We'll talk about her later.
But yeah, it was a fun match. I liked it.
Yeah, not bad at all. All right. Next, we move on to the Raw Tag Titles, where the Revival defending against Ryder and Hawkins. This was interesting because there was no Raw Tag Title match mentioned at all for Mania, and they made it seem like where Ryder and Hawkins asked for the title match, since they were the show was in their home area, and Revival was like, okay. Because Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawkins has done so much to warrant getting a title shot. But they did, and the match was pretty good. The fans are definitely into Kurt Hawkins and Ryder here. Although it would have been nice if they would have wore matching gear. That's the thing. I mean, really, come on, guys. But anyway, Hawkins gets the cradle win out of nowhere on the Dawson, and the place goes crazy for the finish. Hawkins streaks over with, and they are the new Raw Tag Team Champions. I'm guessing that will last all of 24 hours. They'll lose them back tomorrow night to maybe the Revival, maybe Ricochet and Aleister Black. Who knows? Maybe somebody new. Who knows? But anyway, they get a 24-hour reign at least. So, thoughts on the match and the booking here?
I thought it was probably the best match of the pre-show. Those 4 matches, I think it was the best match. I thought Revival, of course, are an excellent tag team. Dash Wilder, played it soft compared to what he did last night. But to the asshole who tackled Bret Hart, Dash was a little bit nicer to Ryder and Hawkins. But had to reference that because that was crazy.
Yes.
But
Yes, it was.
yeah, this was a really good match, and the Rival did their thing. Ryder was excellent building to the hot tag. Hawkins got the hot tag, and did his thing. I really liked the finish because it sort of played off of, at the time he was a heel on Main Event, losing every week, and he would oftentimes start his matches by just saying, "Well, I'm a loser anyways. I'll just lie down and let you pin me." And he would sneak in a small package for a near falls, a lot of times to start matches. And he may have even played possum once or twice, like it here. So I thought that was a cool callback to those, random C-show matches where he was losing those 269 matches the last couple of years, and ended up paying off for him in the end, playing possum. So I thought that was a cool callback and a great finish. The booking, I do think, is a little bit strange. About a month ago, I put on a poll just to joke around about how many matches would be announced, like on the Wednesday or Thursday before WrestleMania, and I think there was like one or two of them. This might have been the only one, but I was waiting for one more match to be announced, like at the last second, and this was the one that was. It did seem like Ryder and Hawkins were going to get some sort of TV push way back, like right before Fastlane, but then they called up
Yeah.
Gargano, Ciampa, Alistair, and Ricochet, and they just sort of vanished in the four NXT call-ups.
Back to main event.
Yep, there you go. And so then they decided, oh no, we'll bring them back at the last second and give them their WrestleMania moment. So typical WWE booking, but definitely silly and bizarre. But it was still a cool moment. They finally paid off the Hawkins deal. And I'm with you. 24-hour reign. Somebody's beating them all night. Not sure who, but I don't think they keep it past tomorrow night.
And another hometown
Yeah,
win. And all three of those guys were NYWC guys too.
there you go.
So makes it even more special for them that they're off in the same training camp. Well, not training camp, but it's the same independent organization, the training school. So good job for WWE there and letting some hometown people get some wins, which is rare for them to do.
Yes.
Next, we get the Andre the Giant Battle Royal, and of course, this was predictable what was going to happen. Braun Strowman was your victor. That was the only decision that was right here, and of course, the whole thing was it was going to be interesting to see how Colin Jost and Michael Shea was portrayed in this match, and they were under the ring hiding, which was about the only way they could have done it. Which makes what happened. Well, Carmella didn't hide at least
Sure.
earlier, but it kind of makes the women's finish look even more kind of silly in a way to do something similar to this. But anyway, Luke Harper made his return on the main roster here in this match as well, and they did a little stare down spot with him and Braun, which is interesting. So we had that. Mustafa Ali, well, I guess he's not Mustafa anymore, but Ali is a complete madman yet again. Luke Harper had him up on a suplex from the apron to the floor. Braun just rams them, and they follow through with the spot. They go flying in the air from the apron to the tables, and Ali hits his face on the table as he's landing on the with a suplex. Just a crazy man, complete nut. And so that was one of the highlights of the match. Heavy Machinery and Andrade, I think, looked good in this. They had their moments in the sun. But the story was about Braun and the Weekend Update guys, which Braun was never on Saturday Night Live the night before Mania. They never mentioned it on Weekend Update. I thought that was completely whack. Because I would have thought that they would have put that out there, but
that was
nothing
bogus. Yeah, I thought that was dumb too.
Yeah, so that was really stupid. So anyway, Braun gets rid of him. I will say I did enjoy Colin Jost coming out in the Odell Beckham Cleveland Browns jersey in the New York Giants home stadium. So I thought that was cute. But what are your thoughts on the match?
Yeah, this was another fun one. Probably about the same level as the women's in terms of entertainment and stuff, and fun, solid little battle royal. The bumps in this were psychotic. The Lucha House Party all took ridiculous bumps. All three of them did.
Of course,
Lince
yes.
Dorado died literally 5 seconds into the match. He went
Yeah.
flying off screen from Braun or somebody and went like splatted on the floor. Of course, the Harper Ali spot was ludicrous. I seem to remember a couple of crazy. Colin Jost. I mean, they caught him, but I mean, still, I
Yeah.
mean, that's a pretty wild, toss to take for a
For
freaking
a
yeah. There you go.
non-wrestler.
I mean, that was got to give him credit for that. But yeah, this was a fun match. Braun was shredded, man. Like Braun's never looked in that good a shape. That dude is fucking shredded.
Well, I mean, if you've been following him on social media, you've been seeing this. I mean, the dude. I mean, he's in tremendous physical condition. Of course, his girlfriend is Camille Kane, and of course, you've seen her. She's rock hard as well. She's very muscular. So yeah,
Yeah.
he's jacked, buddy. He
I
is
mean, this
jacked.
is.
No shirt. He wore no
Oh
shirt
no! I
too.
mean, he's the best shape I think he's ever been in. I mean, he
Yes.
looked incredible. But yeah, it was a fun little match. They paid off the SNL deal. But I'm with you. NBC Universal and WWE are idiots for not doing. And SNL. I mean, all of them are stupid for not doing something last night. That was silly not to do something there. I mean, it was right there. They should have done something. That's my biggest criticism.
Hall of Fame was in Brooklyn. I mean, Rockefeller Center can't be that much of an issue to get from the Hall of Fame, which ended at like what
Yep.
10:30. To get there, Weekend Update's not going on the air
Like
until
12, 15.
like
Yeah.
12:20,
Right.
12:15,
Yeah.
12:20. So come on, guys.
That's my biggest
Not
criticism
doing,
there.
yeah, I'm not doing a Mr. Corey voice there, but I mean, as I said, come on, guys. Jesus, it's not that hard. You all work together. You're all part of the same family.
Right.
But anyway. I mean, at least they went out there and they did what they needed to do. So props to them, I guess. All right, the show starts with Alexa Bliss, your host. Talking about she can make a WrestleMania moment happen anytime she snapped her fingers. So she snapped her fingers, and out comes Hulk Hogan. Hogan gets a mega pop, of course. He talks about being in the Silver Dome, making fun of himself for his faux pas a few years ago when he was at Mania. Then the last Mania he was at was when he did that, the one with Austin and The Rock and all that stuff when they were all in the ring together. But he did call the stadium the MetLife Center.
Yeah, I noticed that.
And and he posed with Alexa and this, that, and the other. But the real newsworthy thing about Hogan before Mania was supposedly he hadn't talked with Big E and maybe the rest of New Day. I don't know, but he definitely, I guess he figured out that after what happened in Hall of Fame that they weren't buying him, and he went to Big E and Big E heard him out and he apologized, and I guess Big E, forgave him for the stuff Hogan has said in the past, the racial stuff he said. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But anyway, Hogan leaves, and as he's leaving, Paul Heyman comes out. So now this is interesting. And Paul Heyman says, if Brock's not going on last, he's going on first because he has to go home. So we have the Universal title match to begin the show, and I thought this was the absolute right decision to do. Put this match on first. And as soon as it went on first, I knew then we were going to get a title change.
Yep.
And it still surprised me they actually did it, though. But man, there was I mean, it only went about 2.5 minutes. But it was a hell of a 2.5 minutes. I mean, he brought me the shit out of Seth before the bell actually rang. But Seth comes back, hits 3 curb stomps to put Brock away, and Seth Rollins pins Brock clean as a sheet to win the title. And that was an amazing visual to watch. As Seth Rollins now has the Universal title. He slayed the beast. And this was an amazing deal here. What were your thoughts?
Yeah, this was really well done. I had been joking with several people over the last few months that they they should open the show with Brock and Rollins. That'd be awesome. And of course they did, and it was the right call. And yeah, I'm with you. When it started, I said, "Oh man, they're going to change the title. It's going to happen." And Brock comes in, beats him up. Seth takes big bumps, has his back all fucking bloodied and red and shit, all bruised.
Ooh, it looked nasty, like Sheamus' back.
Yeah. Seth makes his big comeback after the bell rings and hits the 3 curb stomps. And an interesting note, if you recall SummerSlam, when Roman pinned Brock kicked out at 3 like Hogan Warrior at WrestleMania 6. Kicked out right after the 3. Not tonight. That motherfucker was napping. He was out cold. I mean, like he was. He laid there. He kept those shoulders firm to the mat. He didn't even move, Kris. He
Nope.
just. I mean, I don't mean like we they did one final shot right after the end of Rollins' celebration where Brock was like, "You motherfucker" or whatever.
Yeah.
But, I mean, Brock just cleaned the sheet. I was really surprised at how clean it was. I thought it would be a title switch when they opened the show with it, but wow, that's a good thing. Fuck Brock Lesnar. I hope he goes to Las Vegas and never comes back. But
well, he's coming back.
I know he is. He's
I can tell you exactly when he's coming back.
Sure. He's going to be working at least a few of these Saudi shows in the next several years.
Well, I'm not about just that. I mean, we'll be seeing him on Friday nights on SmackDown.
Yeah.
Get ready for it, folks. It's coming.
I'm with you there. I think that's for sure a certainty. But this was good though. This needed to happen. Brock was a poison that does need to go away for a little bit. I think he will be gone for a little bit.
Yeah. Yes, he will.
Need to get, he just needs to go away for a while. We're never going to get fully rid of him, for several more years probably, but to get him out of the picture.
He doesn't need long title reigns. He needs to do what he does. He comes back, have a fresh opponent.
Yeah, do him and Lashley or something like that. Like don't.
That's something. I mean, that needs to happen.
Don't do this shit where he's holding the damn belt hostage. Like it's annoying. Like have him.
Well, you know what? I mean, it's not his call.
I know. I mean,
that's the thing.
I think. I mean, it's clearly Vince and Heyman more than him even. Vince won, obviously. Heyman too, and then
yes,
Brock.
Definitely.
I think Brock deserves some blame.
Yeah.
But I think the reign of terror of Brock Lesnar is probably over. In terms of being the champion and stuff like that.
Yes.
But this was a very well done sprint. Really good sprint. Crowd loved it. Hot start to the show. One of the better starts in history of Mania, probably. Rollins is a hell of a guy to have open Manias. Did it last year. Had a tremendous match. Did it this year. Tremendous sprint. Big moment. Big shift in the company in a lot of ways. Yeah.
He's 6-1 at WrestleMania
there you
too.
Go.
And you got to remember that one loss was on a show that he actually won a match on.
Yes.
So he's won in every single WrestleMania he's worked.
That's right.
Won the match.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean, and hey, Seth Rollins is a guy who, as a babyface, is when he's at his best. He's a tremendous performer, and yeah, I mean, it's gonna be fun to see what they do with him and an updated Raw roster when the shakeup comes down to see what kind of challengers they come through. To see how they hook
For
it
sure.
up. So we'll see what happens down the road. I would not be shocked if we get Seth and Roman in the future. Maybe SummerSlam. We'll see. They probably have to do something like that. I don't know. Be interesting. I'm guessing both will be baby faces when that time comes around, but it is what it is, and we'll find out later on. Money in the Bank's coming up, so that could tell a tale.
Yep.
In the future. But anyway, we got a new Universal Champion. The Beast is dead for now. Thank the Lord. We have a title that's actually going to appear on television every week. There you go. All right, Jerry Lawler came out to help announce the next match, which was the planned opener for the show. Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful reported that AJ Styles and Randy Orton was the opener on the books for Mania. So something changed in the last day or so. So it went on second. And this was a fun match. I mean, it could have been better, kind of your Orton style match as far as pacing. But both men looked good. Styles, of course, had all of his key spots. Um, Styles did that 450 was great. Then he got the phenomenal forearm, got the win, and a needed victory for AJ here as he moves on to other things. And he's somebody I would not be surprised if he ended up on Raw in the shakeup because he's been on SmackDown since the beginning of the brand extension. So we could see him on Raw. Hell, we might see both. We might see both these guys on Raw before it's said and done. So we'll find out in a couple weeks. But anyway, your thoughts on how this played out?
Yeah, I actually really liked this. I thought it was a really good match. It was definitely an Orton-paced match. There were a couple things I want to note. First of all, I really like when they build the big spots in matches, and they did an excellent job of that here. We got a rare RKO kickout, which is good to save that for WrestleMania.
Indeed.
You know, if you want to do that, save it for Mania.
Always.
That was a cool moment. I really liked the callbacks to the previous times Orton hit RKOs or tried to. If you recall, the number one contenders match from 2 years ago on SmackDown in 2017, they did the same spot that set up the 450, where AJ went for the RKO, or rather, AJ went for the phenomenal forearm, and then he tricked Orton, and Orton thought he was, and then Orton fell on his back. And then AJ went again, but Orton caught him with the RKO. But AJ was able to hit the 450 this time. So that was a nice callback to that match from a couple of years ago. And they did the callback on the finish when I think it was Elimination Chamber where Randy caught AJ standing on the top rope for the springboard and hit the RKO to eliminate him. AJ countered that and hit the forearm and beat him. So I thought that was really good work there and really good building to spots and callbacks to spots. And I also want to give Randy Orton credit for getting the crowd back into the match. Maybe the first time he's ever done that. Because the crowd was, they were losing the crowd a little bit.
Well, there was another thing too involving the crowd in this, whereas it's happened at WrestleMania last year, and it's happened at numerous events recently, the big events. They had a big light on in certain sections that was blinding the fans. And when they turned it off, the crowd had a huge pop, and Orton thought it was for him. But that's what it was. It was a big light,
right? And they were popping for it. But I do think Randy sort of, knew that they weren't really paying attention to the match for that moment, so he was sort of able to kind of course correct because, he went and did a few poses a couple of times, and the crowd, gave him a little bit of attention. So I thought that was the first time, because Randy Orton has been known for pitching fits when the crowd isn't paying attention, like the infamous Sheamus match after, what was it, WrestleMania 29 actually in New York. That might have been I can't remember if it was in Barclays or if it was in the other place.
You're thinking about Barclays with the beach balls.
No, I'm thinking about 6 years ago in New York, Raw 2013, the night Ziggler cashed in, and I can't remember.
Yeah, it was Nightomania. Yeah, it was the beach ball. Oh, no, it was the beach ball stuff.
Was that the first time they did the beach balls?
Yeah.
I didn't know it had been that long ago. Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes, sir.
Wow. So it was the first instance of the beach balls then, huh? There we go. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Orton was not very fond of that, but so I got to give Randy some credit for at least keeping us cool and getting the crowd to be a little bit more into the match there in the middle. But yeah, I really like this. I thought it was really good, and I'm with you. AJ had a much needed win, and I think we're going to see him on Monday nights. I think it will be good for him. I think it'll be a fresh change for him. I'm a huge AJ Styles fan. He's one of my favorites ever. But, he has hit a stale period. in the last year or so. I mean, his title reign, I didn't hate it as much as others did, but he really did hit a stale period, and he needs some freshening up, and Raw would be a great choice for that.
Absolutely, absolutely. So we'll see what happens. All right, Lacey Evans then shows up for the Lacey Bomb, and she leaves. So nothing extra special there. Makes you wonder how long this is gonna last, because we're now in the, let's see what happened. It's for what, the Royal Rumble was the first time that it happened. I think it was maybe
Right
something like
after.
that. I remember. Yeah. So January, February, March. Now we're in April. So
3 months.
we'll see. We'll see what happens. All right. Next is SmackDown Tag Titles, 4-way. Usos defending against Rusev and Nakamura, Ricochet and Aleister Black, Sheamus Cesaro, the Bar. So 4-way tag match. Really strong 4-way match. Lots of crazy spots. Cesaro's giant swing on Ricochet was the greatest giant swing I've ever seen in my life. I mean, that was just tremendous. I mean, it kept going and going, and as it was going on, Sheamus was pounding on dude's chest on the apron, just a rotating group of guys. So I mean, that was great. Ricochet off the wacky Tower of Doom spot they did, just landing on his feet like and just a complete madman. It's great stuff. Lots of good work here. Everybody looked good, which is great. I was glad Rusev got a WrestleMania match proper as well. So good stuff. Usos retain though, kind of an interesting finish. I was maybe thinking maybe we'd get a title change here, maybe Ricochet and Black, but who knows? We'll see what happens. But yeah, what's your thoughts on this? And Usos coming out on top.
Yeah, man, this was a really good match. I enjoyed it too. Rusev and Nakamura getting the main card match. I wasn't a believer in that at all a month ago, and got one. So cool to see. The Bar were awesome in this match, like you mentioned. The Cesaro swing was amazing. And yeah, this is a really good match. I thought Black and Ricochet might win. They didn't. Usos retain. We have to remember they did just resign, if I'm not mistaken. So that could have been a factor into them retaining here. And they would also be a good choice to move over to Raw. I mean, obviously you'd have to, they'd have to drop the titles since they're the SmackDown Tag Champions. But they're a team that kind of needs fresh. I mean, they're awesome. But it would be cool for them to move over to Raw. But yeah, this match was really, really good. Good strong mid card match, and it's interesting that the Usos retained, and I wonder what they're going to do with them going forward.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's going to be interesting how everything plays out with the shakeup. Definitely, because we could see maybe Revival move over to SmackDown. A feud with Usos. That'd be a hell of a feud. I wouldn't mind that one at all.
Right.
That should be some really good matches. So we'll see what happens. All right, next we had the Hall of Fame thing. Of course, DX got the pimp spot here, and good stuff. Good stuff. Bret out there. God bless Bret Hart. That was just insanity the night before.
I know, and
That dude paid for it though.
yeah, he did. And Bret had a great speech and finished his speech like a champ too right after.
Oh, Bret was tremendous. Yeah, Bret was tremendous. So great stuff. All right. Next was I gotta mention also great to see Billy Gunn and Road Dogg go to Honky Tonk Man and give him love
Yeah.
from paying off their angle from 22 years ago. Amazing with the Rockabilly and Jesse Jamis. all those years ago. All right, next we get The Miz versus Shane McMahon, a Falls Count Anywhere match. Now, we know what to expect with Shane McMahon at WrestleMania, but he's a heel here. So, how is this going to be different than previous matches? Well, we know Shane's definitely a heel because he's wearing all black this time, not a white shirt, black shirt. And this was quite the spectacle right here. Miz the Babyface has been awesome. He was tremendous here. George Mazan. Miz was laying on the table, the floor. Shane was going to do his table dive. Here comes Mr. Miz, George Mazanin, and he blocks the path. So, of course, Shane doesn't do the dive. Then he gets in the ring. And then he puts up his hands. He put up his deuce for some fisticuffs. And he had his hands in a funky stance that Shane actually had to go there and fix so they could look normal. And then Shane just kicked him in the gut. And one of the highest of Mania me is the George Mazanin thing. I thought that was outstanding. There were so many memes that popped up off that one. Oh man, people were doing all kinds of great photos and quotes and stuff off of that one. Oh, just classic stuff. And then after that, then the match just went to another level, and Miz started beating the shit out of Shane. They went deep into the crowd. They went to the foreign announce position area. Tables breaking. They were climbing up camera rigs, and Miz suplex Shane off the camera rig. The way that the shot happened on the live shot was, they showed him coming off, and you could totally see the crash pad there. So they probably should have had a different angle where the crash pad wasn't so prevalent in the shot. But everybody knows the deal there. You know what's going on. And the finish was great. Shane was laid on top of Miz from the suplex, as I yawn, and the ref counted out. 1, 2, 3. So Shane wins the match. So, yeah, I thought this was great stuff. What were your thoughts?
This was a ton of fun. Shane was like beating the shit out of Miz at the start, busted open the side of Miz's head with a kick, I think.
Yeah.
And then of course the George Mazan stuff was legendary. Knowing how to throw up two fists for a fight, and Shane having to fix it was probably the highlight. And then, of course, George getting his ass kicked by Shane, and Miz just exploding with anger and just destroying Shane. The bump of the night in the first half of the show, that one goes to the main event, bump of the night, and we'll get to that. Well, actually, there's several bump of the nights, but because I just remember another one. But Shane gets hit by, what was it, a camera or a tech box or something. I can't remember what it was that Miz hit him, and Shane goes flying and bounces off the roof of a golf cart. And
it was it looked like something of a monitor.
Yes,
in a way.
Yes, like a monitor or something, and he bounces off the roof of a golf cart like a trampoline and goes head over heels and goes shoulder and neck head first onto the concrete, like 4 or 5 feet below. Totally insane spot, and bump from Shane. So that was your requisite Shane McMahon insane bump. That was actually looked like it killed him, because the crash pad bump didn't really look like it killed him, obviously, especially with the angle like you mentioned. But yeah, that was insane. Yeah, this was a ton of fun. The finish was really clever. It was really kind of the match was kind of a draw in a lot of ways. I mean, Shane won, but it was, Miz kind of got his revenge and Shane got to win. So it looks like Shane's going to stick around and do the best in the world deal. I mean, it's clear that that's the case.
No, he's not gone.
Oh, no. I mean, yeah. I knew he wasn't going to go anywhere. But, sometimes, you just kind of, they'll have somebody like Shane fade to obscurity for 2 months and then show back up or something. That's definitely not the case here. He's going to be around every week going forward as the heel Shane, which I have enjoyed. But yeah, Miz got his revenge, but Shane got the sort of by accident win, really, which I thought was kind of
Yeah.
clever booking. And of course, Shane's going to rub it in and talk about how and make Greg Hamilton do his best of the world announcement over again on SmackDown, I'm sure, because of it. Very.
I can see that. I can see this feud. I mean, this feud will definitely continue. I can see maybe a cage match in the future or something. So
Right.
yeah, we're not
No,
done yet for sure.
I think you're right there. This has been a really good feud, and I really like this match a lot. Very fun spectacle.
Absolutely, absolutely. All right, next we get the women's tag titles. We have a four-way match here. We have Bayley and Sasha defending against Nia Jax, Tamina, Natalya and Beth Phoenix, and the Iconics Billie Kay and Peyton Royce. Now, this was an interesting match. There was a lot of miscommunication, and there was lots of moments where it did not look good. This was probably the worst match on the show, and had maybe the most surprising finish. The Iconics coming out on top, winning the titles, shot the hell out of me, and yeah, man, that's crazy. Beth hit a big glam slam on Bayley off the middle rope. Peyton Royce made the save, and then Billy jumped on Bayley to win. So Bayley did the job here. I kind of was expecting Beth and Natty maybe to win this match, just because Beth's back or something like that. But no, the Iconics win the titles, and I love Billy and Peyton, love them to death. But I just don't know. I don't know about in ring. We'll see. Peyton can go. Billy, she's hit and miss at times. So it's gonna be interesting. Gonna be interesting how it plays out. But we have a new champion, so more new champions on this show.
Yeah, this match wasn't good. It probably was the worst match on the show. Well, it might have been a little bit better than Kurt and Baron. But Kurt and Baron has more of an excuse to be bad. This has less of one, although when you have and the Iconics, and although Natty wasn't too bad in this match, to be fair. When you have those people in there, it's then again it's like, well, what what do you expect? Yeah, this was definitely a mess. I don't think it was god awful or anything. I think some people probably would, and I could see the case for that.
It was just sloppy.
It was just sloppy
I mean,
and really uncoordinated and really messy, and didn't have a particularly good pace, and the crowd wasn't into it because I think it actually had a bad spot after Miz and Shane. It's hard to do these cards when.
Oh, could you imagine if this would have went later?
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah.
Oh, buddy.
Yeah. This match just wasn't did not click really at all. Billy and Peyton I loved in NXT. Then I hated for months. I just hated him for months. I've come back around on them a little bit in terms of their character work the last couple of months. And they're not bad to look at, which helps. But
always, but
right,
anyway,
right,
yeah.
But that,
and they've kind of toned down their
yes,
annoying,
which I think
qualities.
has helped them for me. And I actually think that they've gotten to be pretty good in terms of hitting the double teams type chemistry stuff. I thought they showed that at the Chamber actually pretty well. That's sort of when I started to turn around on it a little bit. I thought they both had a good performance at the Chamber. And I just don't know. I don't know about them being the tag champs. I'm wondering if this was just a WrestleMania moment booking type situation. You know what I mean? Like, Australians come to WrestleMania every year, a large contingency of them, thousands probably even.
And they were chanting,
yes, they were very over. Got a nice pop when they won. And I'd be curious to see and wonder if that was a reason that they won was, hey, let's give them WrestleMania moment and make this a WrestleMania moment booking scenario. They do that every year in WWE, and this might have been one of those occasions.
You know what I could see here? I mean, I don't know if it's gonna happen immediately, but I could see them like being the ones to go to NXT and maybe lose the titles to somebody in
Yeah,
NXT.
Sky Pirates maybe. Yep.
Sky
Yep.
Pirates, yeah.
I really thought they were going to do Bailey and Sasha versus the Sky Pirates. I mean, there was definitely a fantasy booking thing with a lot of people. A lot of fans for
Bailey and
sure.
Sasha. The thing is, Bailey and Sasha's too big working NXT
Yeah.
now. It sounds good, but I just don't. I kind of figured that wasn't gonna happen.
Yeah. Yeah. Fair. I think, I do think there's a chance that they keep the belts till San Jose in June and losing to the Sky Pirates, like you said, maybe. Um,
Yeah.
I certainly don't think Marina and Justman are ready to win any belts, but
Oh no, 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 no,
but
no,
I think the Sky
not yet.
Pirates. If you notice, they were very protected at
Oh yeah,
Takeover. So it
yeah,
looks like they're going to get they might get a tag title match. So
yeah. Well, it's going. Yeah, it definitely makes sense for them to be the ones going to NXT since they haven't been that long from
right,
NXT.
right.
So yeah, and Bailey and Sasha, of course, have become big stars, and Iconics is not at that level yet. So like I said, it'd be easier for them to do it than Bailey and
Right.
Sasha. All right, next WWE World Heavyweight Title match. Daniel Bryan defending against Kofi Kingston, and this is one of the greatest things ever in the history of WrestleMania. The bill for this match, I know a lot of people, had issues with it, which once all this took place, the way everything played out, it explained why everything happened like it happened. And if they hadn't told the story that way, this wouldn't have worked out like it did. The fans were so emotionally invested in Kofi because of all the shit that they did with Vince McMahon and everything else, and blah 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 blah, that they were so invested in this man. The story they told of him being in the promotion for all those years and not having this chance. It's the first time he's had a chance at WrestleMania. And then you throw in the whole B plus player deal, which Daniel Bryan went through the same thing, and now he's on the other end of the coin. He's the one calling Kofi Kingston that. So you put that irony in the mix. And then just everything that's going on. And then you have the whole, the racial factor. It was a big thing in this. And it's like, the African American fan base was galvanized behind Kofi Kingston here. And it was a perfect storm for everything. This match was simply phenomenal. I said one of the best things that ever happened in WrestleMania. One of the best thing that ever happened in WWE pay per view. The, the women definitely should have been in last. There's no arguments from me there. But this probably should have closed the show because this you couldn't upstage this moment. And the show wasn't the same after this, really. This is when everything peaked right here in this whole thing. And when Kofi got the win, I mean, people were jumping up and down. People were crying. I mean, it was legitimate. It was legitimate. The emotional connection that was had in this match by the fans, the talent, the wrestlers. I mean, you see it on Twitter. I mean, so much that was involved in this. So many people happy for Kofi. Booker T looked like he was even crying when he came out for the next match doing commentary. I mean, it was one of those moments that it's hard to upstage, and they followed through with it, even though they did spoil it on their website. Oh my God! Shop Zone had put up the new Kofi Kingston shirts before the match, and that were advertising. And then
Typical.
Ryan Satin is somebody who he gets a lot of shit, and I like Ryan. Ryan's a good dude, and Ryan retweeted it out on Twitter, and a lot of people saw it that way. Maybe not the best move he's had, and he took a lot of grief for that. But people got spoiled at that. But with WWE, you never know. That could have been a red
Right.
herring.
And no, I mean, people sort of interpreted Xavier's promo at Wrestlemania as a spoiler too, from what I hear. So
and Big E brings a box at ringside, and I know a lot of people, I was included, is like, oh my goodness, well, they foreshadowing a turn
yeah,
here.
I thought so too.
They said he's going to give Kofi a present after the match. Oh my God. But no, the box ended up being the New Day shirts, as a matter of fact, which they tossed out to Kofi's family, Kofi's children in the ring after the match, celebrating with him. I mean, it didn't get any better than this. This was worth the 7.5 hours that we watched this show for, easily right here.
Oh yeah, this was the match of the night. Tremendous match, WWE match of the year so far. One of the better WWE matches this decade. Certainly one of the better WWE matches and moments ever. Daniel Bryan is one of the greatest wrestlers of all time. His performance was masterful.
Oh, that's a fact. That's a fact.
His performance was
the guy is
incredible.
Legend.
I thought he was
a legend.
From an in-ring perspective, he was the star of the night. He was amazing.
He's a legend, no doubt.
His performance was unreal good. His facial expressions and whatnot. The finish was incredible. Kofi physically fighting out, crawling and grasping and fighting his way out of the LaBelle lock, which is now what they call it. No longer the yes lock, which I like. Fought out of it and won with the Trouble in Paradise. And yeah, this was the peak of the show. I'm with you. The women absolutely should have made. They deserved a main event. They needed a main event. They had the main event, and they did. This would have been a great match to close the show. But at the same time, it also happened at about 9:30 when the crowd was still hot.
Yes.
So good for them.
That's very true. That's very, very, very true. Very true. Very true.
So,
absolutely.
Yeah, this was a special match, special moment. I'm not sure how long Kofi will be champion. I think he'll probably keep it till. My guess is Kofi will probably. I don't know. He'll be champion. No, I don't know. I can't decide if. I don't think he'd be champion past Money in the Bank. I think he might be a victim of a cash in, but that's ways away. We don't know.
Here's what I'm wondering. The turn's gonna happen.
Sure.
So I'm thinking maybe Big E wins Money in the Bank, and then cashes it in.
That could be the case.
Oh, what a way to do a turn too.
Yeah, I'd love that actually, because my thing was don't turn on him if and cost him the title. That would suck. Let him get the moment. Let him have a little bit of a run, 6 weeks, 2 months, whatever. Then do it.
Jealousy.
Yes. And have Xavier be the middleman who's still friends with both of them and doesn't know what to do. That would be very good.
That'd be an interesting way of going about it. Absolutely. And yeah, I mean that would be an interesting way. But I mean this was just amazing stuff, and all that stuff that went on SmackDown. Like I said, it played the role in making all this work, and it's gonna be interesting to see how it's played from now on. So that's that. I'm sure we'll get a rematch down the line too between these two. So should be interesting. All right, now how do you follow all that up? Well, Alexa Bliss in the back with Michael Che and Colin Jost. And they're in the training room. And they're waiting to see the doctors. So the doctors are Scott Hall and Kevin Nash. And Kevin Nash pops the gloves and implies that he's about to get a rectal exam. Just great. Kevin Nash has done that more than once on television in different promotions too, folks. So that's a nice callback there. So Booker T comes out next to do commentary for the next match, which is the US Heavyweight Title match, and for Samoa Joe and Rey Mysterio had to follow up, and Rey was, supposedly cleared to wrestle. I think he was cleared to do what they did here. Rey's had some issues, and this I think just barely went a minute, maybe leaving like 50 something seconds. Joe put him in the coquina clutch and put him out. Sad that we didn't get a longer match, but you know what? I mean, after the match we just had, it probably worked out for the best if this was short. And some of the other matches probably later on should have took this note as well, but that's another story. Joe gets a dominant win in his first big Mania match as a champion. So, were you kind of surprised by this, or with the news of Rey's issues, kind of saw maybe somebody that's coming?
I thought this would probably be how it went. After the Rey ankle injury situation, I thought Joe would win in the first place, and he did. I actually think in a lot of ways it actually worked out because, we didn't need another long match right after the Kofi Bryan match, and Joe needs to kill as much as possible, and he did here, and good. The highlight was Booker going, oh, damn, that's all they gave me. I come out here and this is all I get.
Poor Booker. And he didn't get to work with Cole and Corey either.
I know.
Oh, terrible, terrible. We need our favorite announce team reunited again, man. But we'll see. But anyway, Joe gets the win, and Joe, we'll see what happens with Joe from now on. The titles always could change shows. So the US champion can go to SmackDown. I mean, the Raw, and the IC champion go to SmackDown. We'll see how that plays out. Something like that could happen. We'll talk more about the IC title later on. All right, next, Roman Reigns versus Drew McIntyre. Drew came out with the Newark Police Department bagpipe band, which that was a cool little entrance. Roman came out in his normal thing. Interesting to note here. And I saw people talk about this on Twitter, that the people that used to boo Roman, I mean, there were boos, but the people that used to boo Roman, I think, they want to do it, but they're afraid they'll get the guilt trip from other fans and get shouted down that they won't do it. So basically, what it comes to now is Roman doesn't get nearly as much heat as he did no matter what, because they just don't make any noise. Right. It's kind of an odd thing here. Crowd was quiet for most of this match. Reigns, I don't know if he's battling through some things. I mean, I thought he was he looked better at Fastlane than he did in this match. I don't know what's going on with him right now, but him and Drew had a decent match, and Roman got the big win. Was very emotional after the match. You could tell he was crying in the ring. Which, hey, dude's been through a lot, and he wasn't even supposed to work WrestleMania. So the fact that he came back and got a big Mania match, credit to him for sure. So he got his WrestleMania moment, but yeah, this was an interesting situation. So what were your thoughts on the whole thing?
The match was just okay. I was a little disappointed. I think, I don't know, Roman, I just think I think he's just having a really bad bout of ring rust, maybe. I did think he looked great at Fastlane. I don't think he looked bad tonight. He just looked, a little.
Also, it was a multi-man match too.
Absolutely. I think he'll be fine. Right person won. The crowd didn't really know how to react, like you said. I think the WrestleMania crowds, in this instance was like, well, we can't boo him, like you said, so we're just gonna guess watch the match. Um,
Yeah.
the least they could do is cheer the guy, but I guess they just don't have the balls to do that. But
God forbid.
yeah, God forbid. This match was a little bit disappointing, but it is what it is. Roman got the win. I'm happy that he's back. I'm glad that he's getting healthy and getting better. And I'm interested to see where things go with him. Starting tomorrow. It'll be an interesting deal with what they do with him going forward.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, I think down the line, Seth Rollins could be something down the line. Oh my God! All right, as we're recording, we talked about this earlier. Randy Orton on Instagram just now tweeted a picture of the light shining in people's eyes. All right, and this is what he says to the fans. For the live crowd that saw this, and he had the middle finger emoji up. Tonight, during my match at Wrestlemania at MetLife Stadium, I would like to apologize on behalf of WWE for screwing up and shining a bright light in your eyes for 95% of our match. You missed a really great fucking match. So props to Randy Orton. Props to Randy Orton for that. So anyway, yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see where Roman Reigns goes down the line. I mean, they don't need to rush him in anything. They need to let him get it together. I don't know if they still keep him with Drew or what, but they just let him get it all back together. And we'll see what happens. Next, we get something that just made my night. Elias does his concert. Now, we get a video of Elias playing the drums. We get a video of Elias playing the piano, and then Elias in the ring playing his guitar, and then they all play together for the magic of videotape a little bit. And then Elias begins his spiel. And then we get an interruption, which takes you back to 1932. Babe Ruth calling a shot against Chicago Cubs in the 1932 World Series. And just clips of Babe Ruth and stuff. I was thinking, oh my God. And the thing is, of course, John Cena, the Babe Ruth of WWE in ways. Well, the video ends. And I'm fully expecting to hear the John Cena theme song. No, the Doctor of Thugonomics songs hit, and I'm about to lose my fucking mind because this is what I've been wanting for so long. And that music hits, the place goes nuts. Cena comes out wearing the Babe Ruth
2004
throwback jersey. Yes, has the Babe Ruth throwback jersey, the chain, the Word Life stuff on his hands. I mean, it was just amazing to see this. The crowd was loving it, losing their mind. And then he does his rap, and oh man, he was making fun of himself. He called Elias a wasted wrestling experiment. He called him a Shih Tzu with a picture of Elias on a Shih Tzu. He said Elias's face was like his nuts, in which he held the pistachios that he promotes.
That's a great callback.
In his
He
hand.
do that every time. Way
Yes.
back and throw nuts at people.
Yeah. So he said, "Your face like my nuts, but you got a hairier bush." I mean, and then he said he's gonna get the FU, not the triple A, not the AA, and he hit him with it, and he leaves, and that was phenomenal. Oh, I love that so much. Oh, the Doctor Thugonomics back.
Yeah, that was.
We needed
yes, that was amazing. That was a great surprise. Awesome stuff. I really love that he didn't just come out to the theme and do the rap. He came out in full 2003, 2004, regalia. With
Pat turned backwards
from the Doctor of Thugonomics years. That was just brilliant stuff.
Yes.
And he even got to call the AA the FU and hit it on Elias. That was great. And I also want to point out how awesome of a visual it was when they panned out of Elias and they had the Elias name in the crowd. That was awesome. That was a great segment. A great segment for sure. I liked it a lot.
Yes, absolutely. And then we get this. Triple H versus Batista. No holds barred. With Triple H's career on the line. It was interesting to note that Triple H in media before this match said this might be his last match no matter what. Way to go. Way to go.
That's not true.
I'm going to retire anyway. So even if I win. That's definitely not true. We got two great entrances here. Batista come out with Escalades and security detail. That was great. And then Triple H come out. Somebody has watched Mad Max Fury Road lately, as he had a Mad Max Fury Road CGI type entrance and showed up in this fancy hot rod deal. Came out and did his thing. For a guy who just had a torn pec and come off of it, Triple H is in tremendous physical condition. That dude was was great shape for somebody who had to deal with a torn pec. So props to him. Dave looked great shape, although he was blown up. His cardio wasn't there. He was in great shape. His cardio wasn't there. That's for sure. This felt like a match that should have took place on a Game Changer wrestling show, as we had pliers, multiple kinds of pliers. We had channel locks, needle nose. We had Triple H pulling Batista's nose ring out of his nose with a pair of pliers. And didn't even sterilize him. How about that, huh?
Gosh.
Pulled the man's and didn't even sterilize the pliers. Good lord. But this was wild stuff. Shawn Michaels on commentary, and extra drama to this. But I think this went way too long. It was in fact the longest match on the show, almost 25 minutes. This match probably should have went earlier in the show. That's another thing too. But I thought this was very enjoyable. It was what it needed to be, other than it was too long. It was what it needed to be between these two guys. It didn't need to be wrestling match. Then we start fight. It just went from the jump. So props there. Some tough bumps, man. Tables not breaking, which is a theme on this show. Man, there was some bumps in them tables. Woof. Randy Orton didn't take. I don't think it took a single one tonight. So all the tables that he usually ends up hitting, everybody else was hitting. But I enjoyed this, even though it was too long. So Triple H got the win, with Ric Flair coming out and handing him a sledgehammer to counter Batista's sledgehammer. And it is what it is. What were your thoughts?
Yeah, this was actually really enjoyable. Way too long. But it's Triple H match. He's always got the longest match. That's how he is.
Yes.
Batista tripping on his way into the ring, and then running around and taunting Triple H's parents, and getting into the face of Shawn Michaels, and then slowly going back into the ring, and then like goofing off with Mike Rome and who was the ref? Was it Rudy Charles who was the ref?
I didn't pay attention to who the referee was. I didn't even catch it. Oh, but Batista's next co-star, Kamal, I can't remember pronounce his last name, but Kamal was in the
that's right,
the crowd with Batista heads and Batista shirt on, right behind the announce position.
Yeah, and it was just funny because the camera caught Batista like joking around and laughing with Mike Rome, and I'm pretty sure it was Rudy Charles laughing about the fact that he had basically blown himself up and busted his ass, like almost busted his ass in the ring. It was funny.
Yeah.
You could tell he was having the time of his life. But this was very enjoyable. Definitely somewhat of a GCW type match, particularly in the beginning. with Triple H, weird like tools and like mangling and like torturing Dave. It was very bizarre but very entertaining.
Paul Levesque, spring break.
Batista took some insane bumps in this match. The power bomb onto the stairs was incredible. That was another bump of the night contender right there. Good near falls towards the end. Of course, Flair comes out and looks like he can't keep his pants on. He kept adjusting his pants.
Well, he's used to having his pants off.
But yeah, this was.
It's hard for him to wear pants.
Triple H does a Superman punch basically with a sledgehammer, which was amusing but kind of cool. I liked Batista's sell of it. Really goofy but fun. Second pedigree, boom, finish. Triple H wins. This was a lot of fun. Too long, but very, 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 very enjoyable.
Yeah, it was your Triple H spectacle match.
And also, I'm shocked he never. I mean, a Mad Max entrance is something I thought Triple H would have done 10 years ago. I'm shocked he hadn't done it until now. I never.
And no Stephanie.
Yeah. But then again, she hasn't been involved with the Batista feud, so.
No. And we got Dad Triple H at ringside. Yeah. Mr. Levesque.
Yep.
So. And Triple H's mom, who wrote all the dick humor, the dick jokes. Oh man! All right, so we're at that point in the show where people are starting to really get tired. Well, there's 3 matches left. Kurt Angle versus Baron Corbin up next. Kurt Angle's retirement match. Yeah, maybe not the best placement for this one either. Angle, I will say this about Angle. Angle looked like he was in much better shape here and condition than he has recently. So he definitely got himself amped up for this one. And he even tried for a moonsault where on that landing, if he almost fucked himself up, and that would have been a complete disaster if he hadn't hit it right, because he was about to pop it.
Yep.
And him doing that leading to the finish was actually great, because he hadn't done the moonsault forever, and then he just got so overexcited that he wanted to try to break it out in his last match, and then it cost him, and he cost him the match and ended up losing. Was really good booking and psychology. And I know a lot of people were pissed off that Baron Corbin was in this match. I know a lot of people were pissed off that Baron Corbin won this match. But guys, wrestling, retirement matches, the guy retiring should not really win the match. You put over. You got to do business. You put over the guy who you're facing. And that's what Kurt Angle did. Just that simple. And Angle got to give a great speech after the match. And got the fans chanting, "You suck" at him one more time. And I thought it was a great shot of the fan at ringside. They showed him as Kurt walked out. And he had a great sign that said, you never actually sucked. I thought that was great.
Right.
And Kurt Angle, the guy, when he was at his peak, was one of the greatest workers in the world. But he could do it all. I mean, the guy he was entertaining, he could work, he could cut promos. He was a 5-tool wrestler, basically. I would say a 5-tool baseball player. He's a 5-tool wrestler. He could do it all and do it all great. So, and it's a shame that Kurt had his issues, with drugs and, of course, his neck issues and all that other stuff. Because, I mean, we were robbed of a really great run he could have had. Because Kurt still, I mean, shit, he still could go today, maybe, if all that stuff wouldn't happen, and God knows what he could have done. So, he's done now, and it's interesting, he'll be probably around here and there. I'm guessing he'll probably be in the Hall of Fame next year. Wouldn't be shocked if he's the primary induction. Wait a minute, or is he already in?
He's already in, yep.
It's already in! What am I saying? It's 1:47 a.m. Eastern Time as I'm talking. Yes. It's late. I totally forgot about that. So anyway, what are your thoughts on this match?
Yeah, it was fine. It was one of the lesser matches, but I never expected it to be good. Nor did it need to be good. I actually thought Corbin had a good performance. I thought he was good healing and yelling at Angle's kids and mocking the fans with the "you can't see me" bit. And the right guy won. I know Baron Corbin's kind of just kind of but I mean, you know, like you said, of course he should have won. I mean, he's a young and up and coming heel. He needed to win. He had to. And like you said, the post match was really well done and nice. And yeah, Kurt Angle was one of my all-time favorites growing up. I have watched wrestling long enough now to where I've pretty much saw the entirety of his career. I've been a fan for 20 years now, so I think he debuted at Survivor Series 9.
I
My
watched him in the
my
Olympics.
earliest memories of watching wrestling were probably like a couple of weeks after that, around Christmas '99. So yeah, I pretty much watched the entirety of Kurt's career, and so he was incredible for a few years there in the 2000s, and definitely one of the all-time greats. And he could do everything. So it was a cool moment for him, and I enjoyed this segment. Even if it didn't have the best placement, it was still well done, and I still think the crowd had a pretty good reaction overall.
Yeah. All right. Next, we get the semi-main event of the show, the second to last match. Bobby Lashley defending the Intercontinental title against the Demon, Finn Balor, in a match that had the finish that everyone knew was coming because Finn Balor does not lose as the Demon. It's a matter of fact. And he didn't here. Match went about 6.5 minutes, which so it needed to be short. Balor looked great here. I thought tremendous. Bobby is really solid right now, and he's comfortable in his role. So they did exactly what they need to do in this position. The Balor got the belt, and now it's time to move on. Thoughts?
I thought this was a great match, like a legitimately great, tremendous match. I thought it was actually probably like a 4-star match. I thought it was that good. Like a 6.5 minute sprint, balls to the wall, crazy spots. Like just a tremendous match.
The spear.
Yes. Like this match fucking ruled.
Oh my god.
Like, I could not believe how good this match was. Like it was really, really good. The build to the power bomb, which I like because Finn Balor Finn Balor would never do a power bomb, but the Demon would. I liked that.
Yes.
Finally some development of the Demon, like they did at SummerSlam, where he squashed Corbin because he was a Demon. Here, he hits a power bomb. That's something new that only the Demon could do. So they're actually putting some effort into that transformation, which I appreciate. This was a great, great match. This was probably on the main card, like the second or third best match on the main card. This was an excellent match. I really, really liked it.
Yeah, I mean, it's not going to get talked about because of what happened. But folks, you need to rewatch this. When you have a clearer mind and just ready to rewatch stuff, rewatch this match because it was really strong for what it was. It was exactly what it needed to be, like I said. So props to them for going out there and doing that. Because I mean, when you're told that you only have this amount of time and you're in front of a crowd that's starting to get really tired, I mean, you can go out there and half-ass it. No, these guys went out balls to the wall, so props to them. True professionals. So, Alexa comes back out, and as soon as she comes back out, I was like, oh, Jesus. She announced that the crowd was 82,265. So, we got that.
Don't tell Bix that.
And, well, Dave Meltzer said, of course, that's nowhere close to the real number. So,
or Dave.
Meltzer's already out there, but yeah. And then when Alexa said, I guess it's now, we need to take a break, I I was imagining people in that building getting ready to start rioting when that was said. And you could hear loud boos. Carmella had promised that there was going to be a dance break at WrestleMania, and we hadn't had it yet. And after Alexa made sure to say break 4 times so Archer could come out, here comes Archer for Carmella. They do their dance break. The crowd really couldn't have cared less. Not good. But they had to do what they did. Is what they wanted to do. But man, that was tough. That was tough for sure.
But we got the awesome WrestleMania 36 commercial right after, so I'm good
Yes,
with it.
as WrestleMania 36 is heading to the pirate ship, folks. Heading to Tampa, Raymond James Stadium, where the Bucks play. And boy, there's gonna be all that stuff going on there. You know, the cannons gonna be firing off from the ship. It's gonna be a spectacle for sure next year. And I might even make the trek down there, folks. We'll
Thinking
see.
about it too.
So, well, if you listen to Between the Sheets, anytime in the next day or two, you'll hear me talk about what will get me to come to WrestleMania next year.
Ooh.
So we'll see what happens. All right. All this leads up to our main event. Charlotte with Flair with the SmackDown title, Ronda Rousey with the Raw title, and Becky Lynch with no titles. Winner takes all. Charlotte comes out in a helicopter. Now, Ric Flair has done this numerous times. In Charlotte, at Independence Stadium, when they had outdoor events, he has done it. And Charlotte took a page from Dad's playbook. And they had her show up in the helicopter. She arrives at the stadium. They roll the red carpet out. She heads to the stadium, which is a nice little walk. Now, to explain her, taking her a while to walk to the ring, they go back to the stadium. There's Joan Jett. And Joan Jett plays Ronda Rousey's theme song, Bad Reputation. So she gets that in. Ronda comes out. And then Charlotte makes in the building and does her intro. And Becky just has just a basic thing. Just, her hair done up and stuff like that. But basic intros and new gear. Which made sense because, that's her gimmick, really, right now. I think if they would have had like an elaborate intro, it wouldn't have felt true to what the gimmick she's trying to portray.
Right.
So we had that. Tell you what, this was a hell of a match. And that's to be expected. Ronda's involved. These women, if you didn't know any better, you thought that these women really hated each other at times. The way they were just hitting each other with shots. Oh my God. And, this was fantastic stuff. It was controlled chaos, as I've said before on the show. Very fast paced, which I had to work because of the timing. Crowd was just so tired. They tried. They did good, but it wasn't as nearly as loud as it should have been. But they were very tired. Lots of wild spots. I know Charlotte was bleeding at one point on her arm. Ronda just taking insane bumps, including the drop kick from Becky while Ronda had Charlotte in the submission on the apron, and Ronda just landing right on the back of her head on the floor. Just craziness. We had the hip toss that Charlotte took on the table that was standing in the corner that could have been bad. The way Charlotte came down. Just a lot of great stuff here. And then we got the finish. Ronda went for the Piper's Pit. Becky countered with a crucifix. Ronda's shoulder was up immediately as the referee started counting, and they kind of got it back down, but it wasn't convincing. Ronda starts complaining immediately. They show it on replay. Graves then wants to see another angle, but they don't show. So Graves openly talking about it. So we have that, and then after WrestleMania, we get a report from various sources that that was not the planned finish. The planned finish was Ronda was supposed to make Charlotte tap out, which I think is this year's Brock Lesnar throws the title at Vince McMahon. I think that's what they want us to think because they're trying to set up Ronda coming back in the future to face Becky because Ronda could say she got screwed out of the title match because her shoulder wasn't down. So we're probably going to have Ronda throwing a big fit. That will be on WWE 24 or some shit like that. So, yeah, I think this was done on purpose to make it look like it wasn't the planned finish. Becky was gonna go over no matter what, so it didn't matter how it happened. But I think it was slick. So, and they have to do Becky Ronda 1-on-1. I mean, that they got to do it. So we'll see how long it takes for that to happen. So yeah, the match went about 15 minutes or so, and wow, ended at 12:25 in the morning. So what were your thoughts on this?
I thought it was a really good match. Maybe for me a tad bit on the disappointing side, but I don't think it was. Not that it was bad. It wasn't at all. I was expecting maybe a little bit more, but I think part of that was I really think they were really trying to hit that 12:30 deadline because
rushing.
The show, Kris, actually was scheduled for 5 to 12:30, 5 p.m. Eastern to 12:30
exactly.
a.m. Eastern.
Exactly.
So
it was on the network, folks. But for those of you that wanted to watch this show, the show's so damn long, that was the scheduled time for the network was 5 to 12:30. Correct. Go ahead.
So I think in a way I think they were a little bit rushed, but they still had tons of time and they were able to get the stuff in. It was a great match. I really liked some of the big moments. My favorite part of the entire match that made me jump out of my seat was the chop exchange where Charlotte was chopping Ronda and Ronda said, "You chop like a bitch." And Charlotte said, "Oh, I chop like a bitch," and then fucking chopped her in the face.
She just paintbrushed her. Like in the mouth.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
And of course, Ronda's incredibly insane bump that she took on her head. Yeah. She's lucky she did not hurt herself.
The exploder that Charlotte gave her on the floor as well.
Yes.
Ronda her head.
Yes. Just total control chaos, like you said. Some nasty forearms. Becky was really laying it in with the strikes. And people have been accusing her of not laying it in unless she has a weapon. Not tonight. She was laying it in. The finish, that was definitely, I think you probably got the nail on the head there. I think it was meant to be sort of Montreal Screwjob type finish where Ronda got screwjob by the WWE, basically, because of her behavior. And she got, but Becky had to win. I think it was probably to set up a Ronda-Becky singles match down the line, and I think we'll get that. I really wanted a definitive finish. I'd much rather had that, to be honest. I'm not mad because the right person won, and we got the, and it was a very happy Mania, and all the, people went home happy. But I think
some people went home happy. Yeah. From reading what's going on right now at the stadium. As we're at 2:01 in the morning, and there are people still standing outside the stadium trying to get home.
I believe it.
So yeah. So and it's rain. The rain started after the show ended.
From what I understand, someone posted that WrestleMania was scheduled into 12:30 a.m. and the last shuttle or maybe it was subway or whatever to leave from MetLife was 12:40 a.m. So I can imagine that was a factor.
Yeah, taxis and Ubers are running over $100 at the moment to get back to Manhattan or Brooklyn. People are finding them. Some drivers will walk around the Uber Lyft there offering rides for $200. So yeah.
I think New York is probably. I saw one rumor that it's been a disaster for.
Well, they said logistically it's
yeah. So they may not be going back to New York for a while because of that. It was a great match. I would have liked to have seen a definitive finish. I get what they're going with, but at the same time, it's kind of like, come on, just let it be totally clean. But it is what it is. Right person won. Becky got the big win. Had a decent celebration at the end. I always kind of thought that this match going on last the right move, was also going to be in front of an exhausted crowd. So you kind of get that, which is kind of unfortunate. But yeah, first ever women's main event WrestleMania, good one, and right person won, and they left some open-ended questions for later. And Becky's a double champion right now. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, we definitely will see. All right. Thoughts on the show? Thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs in the middle. Where we at?
Thumbs up for sure. This was a good one. Thank God. This was a good Mania. It paid off. It felt like a season finale. We'll see how things go in the few weeks after this. Recent Manias have felt like they didn't matter at the end of the day. Hopefully that's not the case here. They paid off some long-term storylines. Big babyface night. Big thumbs up. I'll give it a thumbs up. Best Mania in terms of winners and losers, and probably since 30 in 5 years. And probably the best Mania since 31, maybe. I like 33, but this was probably a little bit better. So good one.
Yeah, this is one of the best WrestleManias we've ever had, and WrestleMania is like the Super Bowl. I mean, there's been a lot of bad Manias over the years. There's a lot of bad Super Bowls. The Super Bowls have been a lot better in recent memory.
Except for this year.
That's one good thing. Well, except for this year. But Super Bowls have been a lot better games. But people just don't remember how there was a long stretch there when there was a lot of blowouts, a lot of shitty games, and Manias have had that too.
Mm-hmm.
But this one definitely was not one of them. We had tremendous matches. We had some moments we'll never forget. This was a near perfect WrestleMania in a lot of ways. So definite thumbs up across the board. All right, it is now 2:05 in the morning, and it is time to go, folks. I'm about to go to bed as soon as I get this show sent. All right, Devin, we'll be back for what? Money in the Bank
May
is
19th.
next? May 19th. So yes, May 19th, folks. Kane, Devin's Lord Kane will be there. The mayor, hopefully.
That's
so,
also,
we'll
unfortunately, the night of the series finale of Game of Thrones. So I'm gonna have to watch both at the same time, probably. So we'll see.
Yikes! Well, there is. They do make the DVRs.
There you go.
All that junk too. So we'll see.
I'll be there.
All right, folks. Yes, of course. All right, we'll be back on May 19th for Money in the Bank. Devin, thanks as always for staying up with me, and this is Kris says so long from the Peach State of Georgia.
Promotional consideration paid for by the following. Place to Be Nation's JT Rosero and Chad Campbell here. We want to let you know that we have over 24 podcasts available on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, and PlaceToBeNation.com. We now offer them to you on 2 great feeds. On the Place to Be Nation Wrestling feed, we dive into topics running the gamut from today's WWE to the glory days of yesteryear and the ins and outs of the territory days. In addition to our full-length shows, we also deliver to you special pod blasts on topics old and new.
The Place to Be Nation Pop feed is a veritable treasure trove of great content. Offered tremendous shows covering the land of movies, television, life, comics, and sports, brought to you by the most knowledgeable and insightful folks in the podcast world.
You can find all these great shows, plus archives of our past podcasts from over the past 8 years as well by subscribing to both feeds on iTunes. And while you're there, be sure to rate and leave feedback as well. All of these shows, plus others, available on PlaceToBeNation.com, where we cover pro wrestling, sports, movies, comics, plus in-depth search projects, and much more. Be sure to support our site by using www.PlaceToBeNation.com/Amazon when doing your online shopping. We want to thank our friends at Boneheads Wing Bar, ProWrestlingOnly.com, and TheHistoryOfWrestling.com as well. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Tumblr. PlaceToBeNation.com, the only place to be in your pop